Alright, so imagine this. Your dad denies your existence, your name literally means stomach beetle, and you grow up with a fire in your belly, pun intended, to become one of the most feared rulers in history. Sounds like the beginning of a superhero movie, right? Well, meet SHAKA'S Kona, the founder and father of the Zulu people and the guy who made war an art form. Shaka's story begins with a scandal. His father, Nkosi Kona Kajama, was not ready for fatherhood and tried to write off his unborn child as just a bad case of indigestion. His mother Nandi, however, was not one to be dismissed. She named her son Shaka after the intestinal beetle, just to rub it in. If pettiness was a sport, Nandi would have won gold.
Okay.
Eventually, mother and son had to leave their people, the Zulu, and seek refuge under DINGANE'S of the Mthethwas. And here's where things get interesting. DINGANE'S wasn't just your regular chief. He was a mentor, a strategist, and let's be honest, the father figure Shaka's actual dad failed to be. Under his guidance, Shaka learned not just how to fight, but how to win.
Oh! Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
Now, if there's one thing Shaka knew, it was how to make an entrance. With the help of his war general Mgobozi, he began expanding the Zulu kingdom at an insane pace. First, he crushed the Linginis, then he took on the Nwandwes, led by Zwide, the devourer of kings. I mean, if you give yourself a name like that, you better back it up. This guy was so feared that even his own mother, Intombazi of the Skulls, was into collecting actual skulls. But you know whose skull she never got? That's right, Shaka's. Damn! Shaka didn't just win battles, he revolutionized warfare. He introduced new weapons, new tactics, and turned his warriors into an unstoppable force. Basically, if Shaka had access to Wi-Fi, he'd have written the ultimate guide to world domination.
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
But absolute power? Yeah, it does that thing where it messes with your head. And Shaka was no exception. His mother, Nandi, was his everything. When she died, he lost it. And I mean really lost it. He went into full tyrant mode, killing people at will, banning marriage, and basically making life miserable for everyone around him. It was as if all the bloodshed, all the victories, all the power had finally taken their toll.
I am having a very bad day. I'm in normal. This, today, is one of the worst days that I've had.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit.
Then, finally, the moment everyone had been waiting for. Shaka goes in search of his UBULAWU, his talisman of power. But here's the catch. Shaka had always believed his UBULAWU was his army, his discipline, his mother. But now, with everything crumbling, he had to find something more. And while Shaka was on this spiritual quest, sitting quietly in the background, waiting for the perfect moment, was Dingane, his needy, scheming half-brother. Every great story needs a backstabbing sibling, am I right? And when the time was right, Dingane did what ambitious half-brothers do best. He took the throne for himself, but that's a story for another day.
Come on, man.
Next time you really should warn me about the length of the story, though. Kind of dragged on there.
And that, my friends, is the epic story told in Amazulu by Walton Golightly. And I quote,
"Writing was unknown to the Zulus of Shaka's day, and although many books have been written about this phase of our history, all draw from the same primary core texts. For historians, this constitutes a major stumbling block. For writers, however, it's an invitation to play."
Page 635. This book takes history, mixes it with fiction, and serves up a gripping, movie-like experience that keeps you hooked from start to finish. Now let's talk about the book itself. First off, the writing, immaculate. Walton Golightly has this way of blending history and imagination so seamlessly that you feel like you're watching a blockbuster unfold in your mind. And the way he sprinkles in Zulu words, chef's kiss. As I said in my written review, reading this story is like watching a movie. The language is precise, and every chapter grabs your attention in a way that many acclaimed stories don't. But I do have one gripe. Towards the end, things start to fizzle out a bit. Maybe it's because Shaka himself was losing steam, but I would have loved to see more of the author's take on his death. I mean, come on. The guy was betrayed by his own brother. It doesn't get more dramatic than that. So should you read this book? If you love historical fiction, epic war stories, or just want to know more about one of the most legendary figures in African history, then yes, this book deserves a spot on your shelf. Even if some parts are fictionalized, it gives you a real sense of Zulu culture, tradition, and the genius and madness of Shaka. And that's a wrap. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Amazulu, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more legendary book breakdowns. Have you read Amazulu? If not, use the link in the description to grab a copy. And if you've read it, what are your thoughts on Shaka? Let's talk in the comments. Until next time, keep reading, keep exploring, and remember, never underestimate the power of a well-named stomach beetle.